A lot of agents look at the, when should we book the photos in? Do you want day photos or do you want night photos? That's sort of other questions that's the sort of things that agents default down to, that is a similar sort of close as well.
Yeah, so just find yours that is
find
natural,
yours
that
natural,
doesn't
exactly.
smell. So one of the things that if you're saying the one that they all say, you can't say that one. Because if you're the second listing presentation in and you say the exact one, test close, that the last agent did, or if you say any of the exact lines, you're the second person to say it, that's going to break their pattern. That's going to break the rapport you've got, and it's going to send them into their head thinking, "Ooh," and they may not even know that something's wrong. They'll just feel that something's wrong. So that's why
100%.
you want to take these principles and then rejig them to be your own. And finding a good question that is like that is one of ours was, our photographer is one of the best in Brisbane and he's so in demand. So it's Monday today. Would this, when would be a good time? Do you need another weekend to the place looks great, but do you need a weekend to put the final touches before a photo shoot, or could it be ready to go later this week? That was one we used all the time. And then we would blame the busyness of our photographer. Now, this was many moons ago, so maybe that's not a good one here in 2021. I don't know, but maybe it is. If you've got exceptional photo and videography, then perhaps, and that's the reason that a lot of people come to you, then maybe that is a good one. But that's the principle. Now it's up to you to find your version of that so that you don't jar the consumer out of rapport by doing 100%. A canned script that every agent that they've ever seen, and especially if they've done 2 or 3 agents to do a listing presentation, and that's one of the things you might find if you've been trained by someone like a Lee Woodward, who's amazing, right? But again, know that Lee also trained Josh Fegan, Matt Steinwade, Aaron Shiner. Lee trained a lot of the guys. So elements of Lee's stuff might have permeated down into many of your competitors' stuff. So it's why it is important not to just learn the scripts directly, but sure, if you learn the scripts directly, you're going to be doing better than most. But the one danger zone is if you're not good enough at your marketing and positioning to be called in solo, then you're at risk of being one of 3 called in. And if you even say 2 or 3 little chunks of language that is the script, that might be enough for you to be taken off the shopping list. And the consumer may not even know why, because they may not recognize it. They may just get served up with a feeling that, something's not quite right here.
Exactly. And a lot of agents say to me, I lost the listing. And when I asked them, it was just, they just liked the other agent better. You're right. The homeowner just couldn't even give them an answer to, well, why did you give it to somebody? Why'd you give it to, Joe Bloggs? So that's interesting because I've never ever even thought of it or like that.
Well, the unconscious mind works, and this is going back to, the first program I released was called Advanced Hypnotic Selling, and it was based on
Didn't you get onto Today Tonight for that?
I certainly did. And I thought it was. I thought that was a risk to let Today Tonight at me. Was it Current Affair? No, it was a Current Affair. It was a
Current Affair. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I thought that was a risk, but I thought no. Live by the sword, die by the sword. So I went on, and it was an ad for my business. It was positively framed, amazingly enough. With subjects like hypnosis and real estate agents, you think, oh my God. So it was good. But so within that program, what we were teaching back then is the unconscious mind is making all the decisions, and yet your conscious brain is the one that thinks it's doing the deciding. It thinks it's making the decisions because it's the thing that's actually got an IQ, it's intelligence, it's logic, and it's all of those things. And yet it's all those feelings and patterns of behavior that are actually making the decisions. So for example, when I'm hungry and I can justify in my mind eating a bowl of sushi with all that rice, it's my unconscious mind that is saying, give me the bowl of sushi, even though my conscious mind is screaming at it, I shouldn't be doing this. Or the smoker that is lighting up knowing it's killing them. That's because Conscious
Yeah.
mind, if you put the conscious mind and the unconscious mind at odds with each other, invariably the unconscious mind always wins. And it
Wow.
can't even articulate why. That's why you hear like, oh, I just got a feeling, I
Yeah.
just felt right and things like that. And yet,
Yeah.
with
Wow.
skillful languaging, one can use language like imagination and role playing. And when I say role playing, what that means is if you position yourself in the role of expert advisor as opposed to real estate salesperson, then their unconscious mind treats you differently than if they perceive you
Yeah.
as a
Incredible.
salesperson. And it's
We
not at
even
a logical level, it is at an unconscious bias level. And that can be influenced. And getting off the subject, but Kenny showed us a masterclass in exactly how those tools can be
yeah.
implemented with volition, with intent, as opposed to just naturally. Like all of us can do it naturally.
Yep.
You've all met someone that you've just got a good feeling about, and they've got a good feeling about you. That's because these things happened organically. And yet with the right skills and the right implementation of those skills, these things can be encouraged to happen more readily.